Get comfortable with English and Comfort Zone. This is your English listening practice podcast to help you learn and improve naturally. I'm Ariana.
And I'm Ken. This is English in Comfort Zone, the place where you can learn English while you relax, lie down, or even while you sleep. No pressure, no stress, just natural English and interesting topics.
I've been thinking every English learner has their own way of studying. Some watch movies, some take notes, some practice with friends.
That's right. And those are great ways to learn. But what if some of the things you're doing right now are actually making your English worse?
There are habits that learners do when learning English that seem helpful but secretly hold you back.
Today, we're talking about 9 bad habits that ruin your English. Stick with us because by the end, you'll realize that you may be doing some of these habits.
All right, let's start with the first habit. The first habit that I see so many learners struggle with is comparing yourself to native speakers.
Like you watch a movie, hear someone speaking flawlessly, and you start thinking, I don't think I'll ever sound like that. But this comparison can crush your confidence.
And you have to understand that being fluent doesn't mean being native. Being fluent is about having a good English pronunciation that makes you communicate your ideas clearly.
Think about it. Native speakers grew up with English. While you're learning it now as a grown up, that's like comparing a tree that's been growing for 100 years to a tree you planted last month.
And if you are also comparing your accent to native speakers, well, it's part of who you are. There are so many learners with accents French, Indian, Japanese, and their English is fluent.
They can discuss complex topics, tell stories, make jokes, all with their unique voice.
Here's a quick tip. If you watch a movie or YouTube video, don't compare yourself to the speaker. Instead, practice listening and speaking with them.
Imitate their tone, rhythm, and pronunciation, but don't focus on sounding exactly like them. Focus on sounding clear.
Okay. Habit number 2, which is also something so many learners do and is ruining their English using translation apps. Apps like Google Translate or other tools.
I get why people do this. It feels safe. You see a new word and then translate it instantly to your native language. But here's the problem. It keeps you stuck in your native language.
Your brain never learns to think directly in English. That's right. You have to train your brain to think in English.
And the solution? Switch to an English dictionary. You might say, but I'm a beginner. How can I understand English definitions?
Well, start simple. Use learner-friendly dictionaries like Oxford Learner Dictionary or Cambridge Learner Dictionary. They explain words in easy English with examples.
Let's say you look up the word grateful. The dictionary might say feeling or showing thanks because someone has done something kind for you.
You learn the meaning in English. Plus, you get example sentences like she was grateful for their support. You'll also see synonyms for grateful, maybe thankful or appreciative.
Now you've learned 3 words at once. Translation apps can't do that. They just give you a quick word swap. No context, no deeper learning.
Here's what to do. Next time you're reading or watching something in English and see a new word, don't translate it. Write it down. Then look it up in an English dictionary.
Even if you only understand 50% of the definition at first, that's progress.
All right, let's talk about the bad habit number 3. Something learners love to stress over. Grammar rules.
People spend hours memorizing tenses, articles, prepositions, but then feel lost in real conversations. Grammar is important, but here's the thing. Real English doesn't always follow the rules.
Think about how natives actually talk. They say things like, you good? Instead of, are you okay? Or, I got to go. Instead of, I have to leave.
You might think, wait, that's not grammatically correct. You're right. But guess what? That's everyday English talk.
Pay attention to how people actually speak. You'll notice they break rules all the time.
Okay, next up, habit number 4, memorizing words without context. We talked about this a bit earlier with translating apps.
That's right, like writing down a word you just learned, but not knowing how to actually use it. If you cram lists of isolated words, your brain struggles to connect them to real situations.
Think of it like collecting puzzle pieces but never putting them together. You need the whole picture.
So, for example, if you're learning business English, don't just memorize negotiate. Write it in a sentence. For example, we need to negotiate a better deal with the supplier.
Here's a tip. When you learn a new word, write 3 sentences using it. One for work, maybe one for daily life, one imaginary you just make for fun.
For example, I negotiate with my little sister to eat vegetables. Well, the sentence sounds weird, but it is just for practice.
All right, habit number 5 that is ruining your English. Passive learning.
If you don't know what passive learning is, it is simply listening and not engaging or paying attention to what we are listening, like listening to podcasts or watching videos, but just letting the words wash over you.
Don't get us wrong, listening is great, but if you're not actively engaging, your English isn't really improving.
So here's the fix: pause and repeat. Hear a phrase you like? Stop. Mimic the speaker's tone, rhythm, even their pauses.
You don't have to do this for every sentence. Just pick one or two per video and practice. Interact with what you hear.
Take notes, whisper along, or even talk back to the speaker. It's like playing with the language. This way, you're training your brain to think in English, not just hear it.
Next habit, sticking to your comfort zone, like only listening to the same podcasts or watching the same types of videos.
Learning through things you enjoy is great, but if you never try something new, your English stays in a bubble. You miss out on vocabulary, accents, and topics that could really push you forward.
Someone who is into scary stories podcasts might want to try watching videos about climate change. You could suddenly then talk about science, politics, and spooky stories. Your vocabulary expands.
News is also a great example. It's packed with formal language, interviews, and everyday phrases all in one place. True news are so important.
Try a 3-minute news video instead of a 30-minute documentary daily. You'll hear clear pronunciation, new words, conversations.
Next habit: relying too much on subtitles. Right. Subtitles are helpful for beginners. They help you connect sounds to words. But if you always use them, your ears never learn to work on their own.
You need to process English without the text. Here's what to do. Pick a short clip you've already watched with subtitles. Then rewatch it without.
You'll catch more the second time because you already know the context. Even if you only understand 30%, that's progress.
It'll be frustrating at first. You'll miss words, but your brain starts filling gaps instead of relying on text.
Habit number 8: avoiding accent diversity. A lot of learners think I need to sound American or British English is the only correct English.
But English is spoken everywhere. Australia, India, Vietnam, Nigeria, Ireland, and every accent is valid. Focusing on one accent limits you.
In the real world, you'll hear accents at work, online, while traveling. If you only train your ears for American English, you might struggle to understand a Scottish coworker or an Australian client. Right?
So, here's the tip. Try listening to English podcasts from different countries. For example, BBC for British, ABC News for Australian.
You just have to expose yourself to different accents because English is a global tool. The more accents you hear, the more confident you'll become.
Last habit that is absolutely ruining your English is fear of making mistakes. Most learners avoid speaking because they're scared of sounding wrong.
But in reality, mistakes are how you improve. If you never speak, you'll never know what to fix. Think about it. Kids learn to walk by falling. If they avoided falling, they'd never walk.
Same with English. For example, if you say, I go to park yesterday, someone might correct you. I went to the park. Now you've learned the past tense.
Your goal isn't perfect English, it's communication. If people understand you, you've already won.
And that's it for today's episode. Be honest and let us know in the comments. How many of these habits are you doing?
If you found this helpful, share it with a friend who might need it. Keep practicing, keep learning, and take care, everyone.
Let's take a moment to go over some useful words and phrases you heard today. These can help you sound more natural and confident when speaking English. Hold you back, meaning to stop you from progressing or doing something. Example, don't let the fear of mistakes hold you back from speaking English. Struggle, meaning to have a hard time doing something. Example, Many people struggle with understanding fast conversations at first.
Flawlessly meaning without any mistakes. Example: you don't need to speak flawlessly, just clearly enough to be understood.
Crush, meaning to do something really well or succeed powerfully. Example, you don't need to crush every conversation. Just keep improving bit by bit.
Swap, meaning to exchange one thing for another. Example: try swapping movies with subtitles for ones without when you're ready.
Stress over, meaning to worry too much about something. Example, don't stress over grammar mistakes. Focus on communicating.
Context, meaning the situation or background that helps you understand the meaning. Example: try to guess the meaning of new words by looking at the context.
Cram, meaning to try to learn a lot of information quickly. Example, cramming English before a test isn't as helpful as daily practice.
Isolated, meaning alone or separated. Example: learning in an isolated way can be harder than using English with others.
Wash over, you meaning to experience something passively without trying to control it. Example, sometimes it helps to just let the language wash over you without overthinking.
Diversity, meaning a range of different things or people. Example: listening to English from different places helps you get used to diversity in accents and expressions.
Keep practicing, and these words will start to feel more natural as you hear and use them more often.
For more English listening, daily conversation practice, and speaking tips, subscribe and thanks for sticking around. This is English in Comfort Zone.